Holiday cacti are very popular houseplants. They're known for their vibrant blooms, which come in all different gorgeous colors, and also their relatively low maintenance requirements. These plants belong to the genus Schlumbergera, I don't know, which includes several species more commonly referred to as Thanksgiving cactus, Christmas cactus, and Easter cactus. This Houseplant Care 101 series is sponsored by rePotme.com. With rePotme, you can have all of your houseplant supplies delivered right to your door. They are a one-stop shop for all of your houseplant, orchid, or succulent needs. They have custom handmade houseplant soils ranging from tropical houseplants, cactus and succulents, pothos, snake plants, and more. I cannot live without their clear slotted orchid pots. They have amazing houseplant fertilizers and so much more. I've included their link in my description below, and you can get 10% off any soil with my code Ashley. Even though they're referred to as cactus, they're actually tropical plants. They're native to Brazil and grow in the tropical rainforests and are epiphytic and grow on the sides of trees. Holiday cacti have become widely cultivated and appreciated for their ability to bloom during specific holiday seasons, hence their common name. Now there are 3 different types of holiday cactus. There's Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter. And the one that I have here is Easter, but I've done a little bit of research so you can tell the difference between the 3 and what kind you have. Now the most obvious thing is that Thanksgiving usually blooms around Thanksgiving, then Christmas around Christmas, and Easter around Easter. But there are other ways to tell, and they are as follows. The Thanksgiving cactus is also known as the crab cactus due to the shape of its stem segments, and that's a big way you can tell is actually the difference in the shapes of the leaves. So next up is the Christmas cactus, and it looks similar to the Thanksgiving cactus, but it can be distinguished by its rounded stem segments. So you have to take a look at the stem, and it blooms in late fall to early winter, usually around Christmas time. Next up we have the Easter cactus, and I have one here, and since this is actually Easter weekend, I thought it would be the perfect time to talk about Easter holiday cactus. So based on my research, Easter cactus is sometimes referred to as the spring cactus. It blooms in spring, usually around Easter, and the flowers are usually pink, red, or purple. Well, we have some beautiful red blooms on this one. And the stem segments are more elongated and flattened compared to other holiday cacti. And you can definitely tell here that it's more rounded compared to the Thanksgiving and Christmas. Holiday cacti can live for several decades and actually can be passed down as generational plants. And I see that all the time where people have their holiday cacti handed down through the generations. And I think that is such a lovely tradition. Holiday cacti are also pet friendly, so you can have them around your dogs and your cats and just know that the plant is non-toxic to them if they end up munching on them a little bit. Lighting requirements is one of the most commonly asked questions for holiday cacti because they're actually photoperiodic plants, which means their flowering is greatly influenced by day length. They require long nights and short days to influence flower buds. In their natural habitats, these plants enjoy bright and direct light. Again, they're epiphytic, they're growing on the sides of trees, so they're getting that beautiful dappled light throughout the day. So if it's, morning direct sunlight, that's fine. If it's afternoon sunlight, it may cause some burning on the leaves. So you may want to put it in a window that doesn't get super bright afternoon light. That kind of bright but somewhat indirect light is going to be perfect for this plant. If it gets bright afternoon light, maybe pull it back from the window a little bit so it doesn't get sunburnt on the leaves. I get asked a lot about something called dark treatment for holiday cactus, and it's a technique that's used to kind of force bud development, and it's when you put a holiday cactus into a dark closet to help induce flowering. However, it's not necessary for normal care. But here's a breakdown of when and why you might consider this treatment. This technique involves placing the plant in complete darkness for about 12 to 14 hours a day for several weeks. Dark treatment is typically done about 6 to 8 weeks before you want your holiday cactus to bloom. For example, if you want your Thanksgiving cactus to bloom around the holiday season, you may want to start dark treatment around September and October. While in the dark, it's essential to maintain consistent temperatures. These are very sensitive to temperature, and you'll want to keep it to around 50 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit while it's going through the process. Now, based on my research, the duration of the dark treatment varies, but you typically want to continue for about 2 to 3 weeks or until you see some buds forming on the plant. After the dark treatment, you can just go back to your normal care for this plant. You can routinely water it, give it the bright indirect light it needs, and then, you know, back to regular fertilizing, and you should see quite a few blooms. Now, based on my research, again, dark treatment is not necessary for holiday cacti to bloom, but it can help synchronize flowering and encourage a more prolific display of blooms. Now, most people don't use dark treatment to trigger their plants to bloom. They actually rely on environmental cues like temperature and lighting to kind of initiate blooming on their plants. Although these plants are tropical plants, they appreciate cooler temperatures, especially during their blooming months. So I would say like these plants are fine with whatever temperatures inside your home during the regular year. But if we're coming into the time of year where they would normally bloom, during the day they like temperatures between 60 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and then somewhat cooler in the evenings, like 50 to 55 degrees. And that's like their ideal temperature for blooming conditions. Now, do they need that to survive? No, they'll thrive in whatever temperature you're comfortable with in your home. Some people will actually put these outdoors in like the spring and summer months. But again, I'm just referencing what's best for the blooming months. But yeah, I mean, they're tropical plants, so they'll thrive kind of in whatever temperature you're comfortable with. But to get those blooms, they like the cooler temperatures. Now, these plants enjoy a thorough watering, so like thoroughly get these plants watered. They would also appreciate being bottom watered, so you just stick it into a little container with water and allow the water to absorb up through the drainage holes. I would say allow it to completely dry out before you water it thoroughly again. And soil plays a huge role in preventing overwatering of this plant, which I will cover next. Now, cacti and succulents need a well-draining soil. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, they just need a well-draining soil. Well-draining soil also makes sure that they get the proper amount of fertilization that they need. It makes sure they get enough water. It helps prevent root rot, which is the quickest way to kill your cacti and succulents. And with this being a tropical succulent, it definitely needs a well-draining soil. I am not feeling the soil that's in this one. It's just not looking good. A lot of the plants that where I got this, like the holiday cactus, weren't looking good. Like, even though there's some moisture, like, I don't know, it's looking puckered. It's just, I don't know, this plant is looking like it needs a little bit of TLC. So I'm going to repot it, and you can make your own soil mixture. Please, please, please do not just use a standard potting mix, because it will just be way too waterlogged and quickly cause your plant to get root rot. It won't have enough airflow, and that means that the roots won't have the access to oxygen that they need, especially for succulents and cacti. They need a very well draining soil. So to make your own, it's very simple. I would recommend using a 25% standard potting mix, and then the rest use something else, whether it's perlite or pumice, maybe sand, and just make it very, very well draining for your plant. I guess you could use orchid bark. It looks like there's some bark in here. However, there are a lot of pre-made cactus and succulent soil mixtures out there, so you could use one of those. And then there are soils that are actually customized specifically for holiday cacti, and that's what I have here. And this one's from rePotme. They just have the best soils. I love their soils so much. They're just something special, and these only need to be repotted every 2 to 3 years, if not more than that, because they do enjoy being root bound. So I would suggest definitely investing in a really good potting mixture and a really good soil, because that will just give your plant the best chances of survival. So this is what you want your soil to look like. You see how it has lots of orchid bark, it has big pieces of pumice. I mean, there's so much good stuff in here. This is what you want it to look like. So it's going to be incredibly well draining, but it's still at the same time going to retain a good amount of moisture that's necessary while enabling the roots to receive oxygen, because it's going to have airflow. And there's no way that this type of soil can become so waterlogged that it's going to cause root rot to your plant. I'm also very curious on the size of this pot. Now, the roots of these plants are very fragile and delicate, and they enjoy being root bound and snug in their pots. If there's so much soil compared to roots, then there's just more of a chance of the plant becoming, you know, having root rot. Oh my gosh, look how much extra soil there is in here. Yeah, I had a feeling. I was like, this needs a smaller pot. Okay, so it looks like it's 3 plants. That's pretty cool. I could make 3 plants if I wanted to. Now I'm gonna be super gentle with this because I don't wanna mess up the plant too much. And like I said, the roots are very, very fragile. Look at all of this excess soil. I don't see much drainage in here. I don't see a lot of different types of substrate. So it would be very, very easy to overwater this plant. Oh, and it looks like there's a little plug in here as well. Although, so here's a little remnant of a plug. And plugs can be fine for plants. It just depends on the type of plug. It depends if the roots are able to pass through it or not. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes it can be a little bit challenging for the plant to get its roots through. So I'm kind of pulling some plug out as I go. Like, look at the little baby root system compared to how much soil I've already taken out. You know, with repotting, we typically recommend going like 1 to 2 inches bigger. I'm actually going to size down. So I'm hoping that this size works. Like, it's actually a little bit sized down. And then with the new, really well-draining soil, it should help. Eek. Like, look how tiny and fragile these roots are. So I'm trying not to mess with it too much. So I've pulled it open and you can see a little bit of the original plug in there. And it looks like it's mesh and the roots are growing through it quite easily and quite nicely. So I'm not gonna pull it apart too much to get every little piece of the plug out because I'm just gonna destroy the root system if I do that. I always err on the side of cautious when it comes to how much I mess with the roots. So I think these 2 pieces are good. Looks like this is what they propagated it off of. And then this one, I'm just gonna kind of, yeah, look at all this excess soil. It's crazy. And it's really, I think it's been overwatered. It's looking very puckered, which typically would mean that the plant is thirsty with succulents. But because I feel how damp the soil is, I'm a little concerned that this plant has root rot, but I can't really tell from the roots because they're so soft. But they're not falling apart, they're not breaking. It doesn't have a bad smell. So I think we might have just dodged root rot on this plant, which is lucky because the soil is still pretty moist. Here's the difference between the 2 soils. I cannot express how making a proper soil or purchasing the right kind of soil, the difference it can make to the overall longevity and health of your plant, especially since a lot of these get handed down through the generations. Like, it's the last thing we want to do is accidentally kill our grandparents' plant or something, right? Like, I'm gonna go ahead and repot this up. Let me see. Yeah, this will be a good size. It'll be a little snug, totally acceptable for this plant. All right, we're gonna smush them in together. I think this plant's gonna be so much happier. It's always fun to like stick my hands into the soil and yeah, look at that. So much better. This poor plant, it's definitely on the struggle bus. I had a feeling when I saw the plants, I was like, something's going on. So I was on a little rescue mission for this plant. All right, easy, easy. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but these are called clear slotted orchid pots on the rePotme website. And they are technically orchid pots, but I use them as nursery pots for as many plants as I can. And they have a lot of really good drainage on the sides. And they also have tons of drainage on the bottom. I love that they're clear so I can see the moisture in the soil, if I need to water or not. There's no mystery. And I also like to be able to see the roots. And clear nursery pots are definitely a favorite in the plant community. And then I usually put it into some sort of cover pot. So it looks cute and nice and has this beautiful cover pot, but I can always take it out and switch out cover pots or keep an eye on the roots as I need to. But that looks so much better. I can't believe like how much excess soil was just chilling in that pot. This is my favorite repotting mat. I have others that are fabric, but this one's much, much better. I like that it's so sturdy that it doesn't accidentally bend and all the soil falls out. And this is available on rePotme as well. Cacti and succulents have adapted to nutrient-poor environments, so it's very important to get a fertilizer that's specifically for cacti and succulents. The cactus and succulent fertilizers are actually formulated to work well in very fast draining soils, ensuring that nutrients are available to the plants. They also provide the right balance of nutrients to the plant without overloading them on things like nitrogen, which can be actually harmful for cacti and succulents. They also make sure that cacti and succulents get the right amount of micronutrients that they need compared to your general houseplant fertilizer. Propagation is so easy with holiday cacti. You just take off a segment or cut a segment off, and then I recommend allowing it to callus over for a day or two. Place the cuttings in a well-draining soil mixture and keep it moist until you start to see the roots forming. And then once the cuttings have rooted, at that point you can treat them like a regular mature plant. Like all plants, they can be somewhat susceptible to pests, so don't hesitate to treat them preventatively with either systemic granules or neem oil or insecticidal soap or Jack's Dead Bug Brew, whatever you normally use for your plants. So now you have all the information you need to know to take excellent care of your Thanksgiving, Christmas, or Easter cactus. And feel free to leave any helpful tips in the comments below or any of your questions. We have a very knowledgeable plant community here. And if you'd like to see future videos in your newsfeed, feel free to subscribe. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day and that I get to see you soon. Bye.